Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of an unhaul again. So I know some of you, if you watch my channel, you may have seen that not that long ago, I just did like a huge unhaul. It was like over 60 books or something like that. But I've been kind of feeling like doing another one. I kind of just want to, I do these, I go through phases where I just want to like cull my collection of books a little and just downsize it. I mean, I have two giant shelves and then one smaller shelf of books, and most of them I have read already, and there's a lot that I keep on my shelves that were just like not my favorite, and I don't know why I keep them because I know I'm not going to ever reread them. And yeah, I just want to downsize a little bit. So I'm going to actually go through my shelves. I have a few books here that I already know that I want to unhaul, so I'll talk about those first. And I actually started a Depop shop to sell some of my books and then a few like bookish items I just like don't need or want. So here's the books that I have already decided to get rid of. The first one is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I bought this because I saw it at a rummage sale for $1 and I got really excited that this was only $1, and I just have lost interest in this from that like brief excitement that I got. I started the audiobook for it actually, and I got like 50 pages in, and I don't know. I'm just not in the mood for this kind of book, and I don't know that I ever will be. And if I am, I'll probably end up picking the audiobook up from my library, and I don't need a physical copy for that. So I'm going to get rid of this one. The next book is Moonshot by Alessandra Torre. This one I was so excited for. I love the cover. I think this is such a cute cover. I haven't done my wrap up yet for July, but I think you'll be seeing my wrap up before this video goes up. And if you've watched that, then you'll know I DNF'd this and I really hated it. I gave this 1 star and I got like 200 pages in. So I was over halfway, and I could rant about this book for a while. I'm sure I haven't even filmed my wrap up yet, so I'm sure I rant about it quite a bit in that video. I had to message Jan and just be like, do you care if I spoil this? Because I need to tell somebody how awful this book is. So suffice it to say, I do not want this book anymore. It needs to go. I'm also getting rid of Go Deep by Rilsey Adams. I read this and it was just okay. I'm not gonna ever reread it. I probably should have just got it on ebook, but you know, it was only like $5 for the physical copy or something like that, but I'm just not going to reread it, so I don't need to keep it. The next one is Dark Wild Night by Christina Lauren. I got this because it was at a thrift store and I was in the mood for like a cutesy romance like this, but I bought it and quickly found out that it's the third in a companion series, but you kind of need to read the previous books before you read this one, because I started it, like the premise is that they get like drunk and married in Vegas and then they annul it or whatever, and then they realize they probably should have stayed together or something. I don't even know, but I started it and like the drunken married in Vegas happened in a different book. Like it's already happened by the time this book starts. So you miss that whole backstory. And I don't want to read it without having that backstory. And I don't know that I want to pick up 2 other books just to get to this one. Maybe eventually, but I don't need to keep this one for right now. So that one can go. I'm also getting rid of Hench by Natalie Zena Walshots. That's a mouthful of a name. I picked this up basically because I saw Riley Marie read it and she really loved it. I think she gave it 5 stars. And I bought it because she read it for reading her favorite author's blurbed books. So like Shauna Maguire blurbed this, and that's why she ended up picking it up. So I just bought it right away. I didn't even like really look into it, and I'm not really this is like a superhero, supervillain origin story, and I'm not really into that kind of thing. And I don't know why I thought that I could kind of force it, but I just have no interest in reading this. I shouldn't have bought it. It was such an impulse buy, but I'm not going to keep it. So the next book I got from my mom, actually. She got it from Goodwill for 79 cents. It is an omnibus of 3 novels in the Lucky Harbor series by Jill Shalvis. And, you know, this is books 4, 5, and 6, and I just have a feeling that something like The Dark Wild Night is going to happen where I pick this up and I need more backstory. I just don't care enough. I don't care enough. I mean, They probably would have been cute and good, but I've got so many other like romance books that I would rather read instead of this, and I'm just gonna put it in my little free library, and hopefully somebody else will get some enjoyment out of it because I don't need that. So those are the books that I have already when I check my shelves periodically, I'll grab them and be like, yeah, I don't need that. So those are the ones that I've already decided to unhaul. So now I'm gonna like peruse my shelves and see which ones I think, you know, can get cut. All right, so here are my shelves. I have read basically everything on these shelves. And then this is my TBR cart. So I have 4 unread books right now. I know that I definitely want to get to these 3. This one was a book of the month selection, and I'm not quite sure if I'm interested in this one. I'm going to put this in a maybe pile. I mean, it sounds like it could be good, but I'm not sure if I'm interested in it. I probably, you know what? I'm just going to keep it. I think I will eventually read this, and at the very least, the audiobook comes out soon-ish, so I could always just listen to it on audio. I think I'm just going to keep this one. Off to a great start. I know for a fact that I am keeping all of my Sarah J. Maas books. There is not a single one that I want to let go, so I'm keeping all of those. So now we're going to start over on this shelf here. All right, so these ones I all want to keep. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do this a different way. I am going to pick out books that I already know that I don't want, and then I'll peruse it book by book, because I already know that there's some on this shelf that I just don't want to keep. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll go shelf by shelf. So, all right, I know that I'm not going to keep Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I didn't like this book. It's really pretty, and I'm sad that it's really pretty, and I'm going to get rid of it, but I liked the movie way more, so I bought the movie. I'm never going to reread this. So I'm getting rid of that. I'm also going to get rid of A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. This one was okay, but it wasn't like a favorite. I will not reread it. It was just, you know, perfectly average fantasy romance. It wasn't anything crazy. And I feel like somebody else could get a lot more enjoyment out of this than me. Same with these two. I thought that these were going to be a lot better than they were. It's The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen by Daniel L. Jensen. It's just a duology, but there's like a spin-off. So the next book in this series is going to be following different characters. But it was fun at the time, and I'm never going to reread it. I mean, that's going to be the case with a lot of these, is that I liked them okay, but not enough to keep and not enough to reread. And I know that there's going to be other people out there that are going to appreciate these much more than I will, and they're just going to sit on my shelves for the rest of forever. So I don't need to keep these. I kind of want to get rid of Serpent and Dove and Blood and Honey, because I didn't like Blood and Honey at all. It almost made me lose interest in the 3rd book. I'm still not even sure if I'm going to pick up the 3rd book when it comes out, because I just can't stand the love interest. Reed, he drives me nuts. I hate him so much. I really like Lou, who's the main character. And I really loved Serpent and Dove, minus Reed. Like, I loved everything else. I'm not sure if I'm quite ready to give these up. I'm going to put these in the maybe pile. Yeah. These need some time to think about. I'm going to get rid of Peter Darling by Austen Chant. This is a really hard edition of this book to find. It took me a while to find it, and I know that there's people out there that are looking for this. And I did really like it, but I don't think I'll ever reread it. It's a really, really great story, and I just think somebody else would, really appreciate having this edition since it's gorgeous. But yeah, I'm just never going to reread it, and redundant at this point. I'm just going to say that over and over. I don't need to keep it. Okay, I have 3 middle grades here that I'm going to get rid of. So the first one is Mistress of All Evil by something Valentino. Serena Valentino. It is a signed book, which is kind of cool, and it follows Maleficent. It's a really pretty book. I love Maleficent, especially the remake with Angelina Jolie. It's one of my favorite movies, but I didn't really care for this book, and I'm never gonna pick it up again. It's just taking up space. It can go. The next one is The Curse of Maleficent, The Tale of Sleeping Beauty, which is a Disney Press book. I don't know who the author is though. Does it even say? It doesn't say. So basically this is just a novelization of the movie with some added bits, but it also has like illustrations and stuff in it throughout, which is kind of cool. But I really don't think I need to keep this. I mean, I love the movie, so I'll watch the movie. I don't think I'll ever read the book. I have read it and it was fine, but I don't think I need to keep this. And then the last one is Forest of Shadows, which is like a bridge book between Frozen 1 and Frozen 2 by Camilla Benko. I bought this because I was freaking obsessed with, well, both of them, Frozen and Frozen 2. But when Frozen 2 came out, I just couldn't get enough of that movie. The soundtrack, I just love it. I love Elsa. I just love her. And so I saw this in a Target and I was like, what? It's just like a bridge book. That's like a little story that happens between the two movies. It's really cute and pretty. And it's got like cool chapter headings and stuff. And I remember liking it, but not enough to ever want to reread it. Like it was a good one-time fun thing. But I definitely think somebody else will have a fun time with this as long as it doesn't stay on my shelves collecting dust. All right, I'm doing it. So I'm pretty sure on one of my other unhauls, I unhauled the Shadow and Bone trilogy or the Grisha trilogy. And for some reason, I rebought them. I think this box set for these 3 books was like less than $20, and it was right when the Netflix show was coming out. And I thought, oh, maybe I want to reread it before I watch the show. I haven't watched the show. I'm not even sure if I will, because I don't really like adaptations all that much, especially if it's a series that I really love. I don't want to watch it and then only be able to picture things like how it's portrayed in the show. So I'm not probably going to watch the show actually, and I'm never going to reread this series. I think I had a good time with it when I read them, but it's maybe a little too YA for me now to enjoy it as much, and I feel like if I try to reread it, I won't like it as much. I still remember everything that happens. I don't need it. I don't need it. It's gonna go again. Okay, I'm definitely gonna get rid of this beast here, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. The only reason I hadn't already previously put it in my unhaul bag is because I was gonna use this like for a video to hold up like most disappointing book of the year or something. And I can just use a picture. I pop up pictures on the screen all the time. I don't need to keep this beast of a book. I'm never going to reread it. Although it is really pretty. The spine is really pretty. I'm just trying to be less superficial about books. So I'm just going to probably put it up on my Depop. There is one page that was damaged when it was shipped to me that I have since taped up. Like, you can still read it just fine, but it is a minor flaw. You know, I didn't like this book. Okay, I didn't mean to throw it, but I'm not even mad that I did. This next one is a Hans Christian Andersen classic fairy tale. Like really pretty with the gold gilded edges. It's got art on the end papers. There's illustrations throughout. It's got a dang ribbon bookmark. It's pretty. Never gonna read it. Never gonna read it. And you know what? I'm gonna give this to my husband so he can put it in his classroom. So he can have that. Okay, I'm actually going to also get rid of Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. I think this was a fun read for a one-time thing again. I'm probably not gonna ever reread it. It was cute, it was fun. I liked the magical realism in it, but yeah, I'm not gonna reread it. I think I'm going to get rid of the Virga Book of Witches, which is edited by Shahrukh Hussain. I started reading this when I was in like a witchy kind of mood because it's a bunch of witchy books or like witch tales and witch lore and stuff. And I got like 20 pages in and I didn't like a single story yet. And I just really only wanted it because it's so pretty. But like I said, I'm trying to be less superficial about those kinds of things. I'm going to get my Sabrina bookmark back now. Yeah, I don't need to keep a book just because it's pretty. Unless I liked it, then that's cool too. I think I'm also going to let go of The Wicked Deep and Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. Actually, I might keep Winterwood. I'm going to get rid of The Wicked Deep. I'm going to keep the Winterwood one. Because I did like that one. And I'm trying to be less superficial. And then there's a book like this where it's freaking gorgeous. And then the naked cover, like, it's really making it hard to not be superficial and keep it just because it's pretty. But I didn't care for this one that much. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't anything great. It's just so pretty. Let it go. Letting it go. Letting it go. I do see some other ones on here that I could let go, but I'm maybe not emotionally ready to do that at this point in time. So there's going to be a few on the chopping block here that I could potentially let go at some point. But now we're going to move on to the next shelf. Know that I'm going to get rid of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertelli. I read this book years ago and I loved it. It's so cute, so fun. But yeah, I think if I ever tried to reread this, I think it would just be too of a YA feel for me. And I'm just going to keep the happy memories that I have with this book and let somebody else enjoy it elsewhere. I know I'm going to keep those. I think I'm going to also let go of The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I read this for a book club with my coworkers, and I probably would have DNF'd this if I was reading it for just like my enjoyment and not for a book club, because it took so long to get interesting. Like 200 pages, I was so bored. But then it got really, really good, and I ended up really, really liking this one. But it's also kind of sad. I mean, it's set during World War II, so obviously it's going to be sad, but I'm not going to reread this one. If I was going to read a World War II book, it's going to be The Book Thief. So this can go. I'm kind of tempted to get rid of my Stalking Jack the Ripper books because I don't think I'll ever reread them, but I loved the first book. If I was ever going to reread one, it would be this one, but then I wouldn't reread the whole series. So I might just keep the first one and get rid of the final 3. Which I always thought was weird when people did that, like splitting up a series, but I kind of get it now because these were just okay. This one I think was good. I don't remember how much I liked it. I hated the third book. And this one was just okay. So I think I'm just going to keep the first one. Is that weird? Maybe. Oh my gosh, there's so much space. Okay. I am going to keep all of these. But I'm going to get rid of The Power by Naomi Alderman. I liked this when I read it. I don't think I'll ever reread it. It was interesting and thought-provoking when I read it, but it can go now. I want to keep The Handmaid's Tale. Ooh. All right, this one is interesting because I read and liked the first book, Girls with Sharp Sticks. I read and loved the second book. I even decided to annotate it, and I read it in a single sitting. This was, I think, the first book that I sat down to read like a few pages, like get into it, and then just couldn't put it down for the rest of the day. So I had to finish it, which was fun. And then this one was just okay, the final book. So now I just kind of have lukewarm feelings about this series. I wouldn't ever just reread this middle one because I feel like I would need the backstory of the first book. So I think I might be saying goodbye to these. Yeah, they can go. All right, now I got my thriller shelf. Okay, I didn't really care about My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix that much. Like, it was okay, but I just really like the cover. But like I said before, trying not to be superficial. So I'm going to let this one go because I feel like there's enough hype about it still that people would still enjoy having it. Okay, Horrid by Katrina Leno. I Did enjoy this one, but I won't ever reread it, especially now that I know the end. I'm finding that I should get thriller books from the library because once you know the twist, it's less exciting to reread it. So I might start doing that. I need to use my library more anyways, so this one can go. I did enjoy those. I think I can let go of Verity by Colleen Hoover because, like I said, once you know the twist, it's not as exciting to come back to it. And this was good. I should have just got it from the library though. I want to keep these. I want to keep these. This one I have tried to read, I think twice. It's possible that it was 3 times. And I, for some reason, cannot ever let go of this book. I just feel like if I was in the right mood, I would really, really like it. But I'm never in the right mood, it would seem. Because every time I've picked this up, I've gotten maybe 100 pages in, probably less. And I'm so bored by it. And I love the cover. I think it's so pretty. And I really have a hard time letting this one go. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Guys, I've DNF'd this twice and I can't let it go. No Exit by Taylor Adams, I DNF'd and also really did not like. But I only got like, I don't even know. How far did I get into this? It was like 70 pages or something. 100 pages? Oh, more than that. I think I got like 100 pages into this. And I just don't see why everybody thinks this is so good. I was so annoyed by it. But a lot of people whose reading tastes, like we have similar reading tastes, read this and love this. Like Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. This is like her favorite thriller. She gave this 5 out of 5. So I'm like, do I keep this to give it a second chance and just power through? I think I'm going to give this a second chance. And if I DNF it again, I'm going to get rid of it. And then all my Riley Sager books I'm keeping. Oh my god. These I'm all keeping. I didn't care for the Bromance Book Club or Tessa Bailey's Fix Her Up all that much. But I want to keep them for now. I think eventually I'll unhaul them. But I want to keep them for now. This one was interesting, but it was just okay. But I have some sort of like sentimental attachment to it for some reason, so I'm going to keep it. The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. I did really enjoy this one, but I won't reread it, and I think somebody else will really enjoy it. If you like reading books about like readers and bookish things, this one's really cute. Or trivia. She does trivia on this one. It's really cute. Okay, now I'm down to my graphic novel shelf here. I have the Hamilton book here, but I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep all of these, I think. Oh, this one can go. Oh, no. Okay, see, they're just like hanging on by a thread here. This one is Mad Love by Paul Dini and Pat Cadigan. It's a Harley Quinn novelization of like her origin story. I love Harley Quinn. I adore her character, but I will never reread this. I've read so many like takes on her origin story and I know it so well that I don't need to keep this. Although I did really like it and I think it's cute. This graphic novel is Harley Quinn Breaking Glass by Mariko Tamaki, art by Steve Pugh? I don't know. But it's like a graphic novel of Harley Quinn as a child, which was fun, but I don't think of this as canon, so I'm not going to keep this one. I loved Harleen, so I'm going to keep that one. I love all my Harley Quinn ones. Saga, I'm just going to keep all of these. I could potentially get rid of Heavy Vinyl and Fence, because I don't think Fence is going to be graphic novels anymore, which is really, really sad, because it was so good in graphic novel form. Once they switched to novel form, I just lost interest in reading the story. Like, I think it belongs in graphic novel form. So I'm going to keep them for now, just in case they decide to pick back up in graphic novel form. But if if it's like confirmed that they're not going to, then I'll get rid of them because I don't need to keep them then. Okay, so now we're towards the bottom of my shelf. Obviously, I'm gonna get rid of Normal People by Sally Rooney. If you didn't see my 24-hour reading vlog where I read this and ranted about it, I hated this book. I gave it 2 stars, and it feels more like a 1 star with now that I've sat with it and have hated it so much, and I'm literally annoyed at this book so much. I threw it in that 24-hour reading vlog because I was so frustrated. I just chucked it. So yeah, I don't want that. I'm also gonna get rid of Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This was just okay, it was fine, but I'll never reread this. So that can go. I'm keeping these 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid books because they're my favorites. I'm keeping all of my Frederick Bachman books, and I'm keeping those 3. My Guide to the Night Sky. Let's see. You know what? I think I'm gonna get rid of this poetry collection. I think it's the only one I have still, and I did really like it. I especially liked The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one. Maybe I'll keep this one. I'll keep this one. I liked this one. The Princess Saves Herself in this one was decent, but I'm not gonna read those poems. And same with The Mermaid's Voice Returns in this one. I just need to take the couple tabs for the poems that I did really like out. So those can go, but I will keep this one. I like that. Good Feminism, Rage. Yeah, I'm gonna keep all of these. These are my nonfiction books. Okay. And then this shelf is like, I could call it my nostalgia shelf. So these are the books that I read in high school, like the legit copies that I had in high school. I've reread Twilight sort of recently, within the last like year or 2. And these, as for many people, this is the series that really got me into reading. So they're way too sentimental for me to let go. And The Hunger Games, I also loved. I even have my little Mockingjay pin here. And then the Divergent series, which I do want to do a reread of soon, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, I'll never get rid of these ones because they are so nostalgic for me and sentimental. I also have the series of Unfortunate Events here, which I've never read, but I think it would be really fun to try to read all of them in like a 24-hour readathon or something. I kind of painstakingly bought these secondhand from like Goodwills because I think they'd be really fun for when I have my own children to have them read those because they're like classics, you know? Also, does anybody else remember the Magic Treehouse books, or am I dating myself? Because this one was my favorite. I saw it in Goodwill for like $1, Pirates Past Noon, and I like flipped out. So yeah, this one also makes me feel nostalgic because I just loved this one. But all the Magic Treehouse books were really fun. Yeah, so I just have like a few other ones that I'm not going to get rid of or anything. So now I suppose we can look at my little tiny maybe pile. I really should let this one go. I really should, especially because I couldn't finish it. But I'm not going to because I just, for some reason, cannot let this book go. It's weird. Obviously, I don't have trouble getting rid of books. I never have had trouble like that. Like, there's a whole friggin' pile of them right there. But for some reason, this book is like, no, you need to keep me. And I'm gonna listen to it. Then I have these 2. I'm on the fence about it. This one can go. I don't need that one. That one can go. But do I keep Serpent and Dove? No, I'm not going to. I hated Read way too much, and you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. So that one can go. That's a pretty good pile here. I have a lot of space on my shelves now. For some reason, I thought I was going to be able to get it down to 1 shelf. Silly me. That's probably never going to happen because I just have too many like favorites on here. But yeah, I think I did pretty good right now. Like I said, I need to start using my library more because obviously buying books is very fun. It's a hobby in itself, but there are a lot of times, especially with thrillers, where once you read it, like, I'm not going to reread it. So it's fun to read at the time. I don't need to buy it in order to enjoy it. And I need to remember that because I really like to buy books. But my library now is much closer since we've moved. It's like less than 5 minutes away, whereas before it was like well over 15 to get to it. And parking was always a nightmare there. So it was kind of a pain in the ass to try to get to that library, but now it's so accessible for me. So I need to start using it more. This is a pretty decent stack. Like, look at this. Like, okay, this is the ones I talked about, but look at these. Look at this. I am pretty impressed with all of those books being able to go. So I finished filming. And I'm still looking at my shelves, and I think that I'm going to get rid of The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner as well. I did like this one, but you know the drill. I won't reread it, so it's going to go. I'm also probably going to just get rid of Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker. This is like a companion-ish thing to Middle Game. And I know that there's another one coming out, but I think I'm just going to get that one from the library because I didn't super care about this one. I like the Wayward Children's series better, so I'm going to get rid of this one, I think. This one I could potentially change my mind on, though, so we'll see. I also decided I am going to get rid of Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw. Although I did like it, I don't think I'm ever going to reread it, and if I do, I will just pick it up from the library. It is really pretty, and I think the inside is pretty, like, Wicked Deep. Yeah, it's got that pretty naked cover, but that's okay. I don't need this anymore. Also on the chopping block is the Raven Boys series. I think, again, I would probably only ever reread the Raven Boys, but I just really like how these look on my shelves. I try not to be superficial, but I am. So these could potentially go. I'll pop up on the screen if I do decide yes or no if I did unhaul them, but I'm not sure yet. And then I also am going to get rid of this one. I have like a story behind why I have this book, but it's not even the same book. I don't know. I'm not even going to tell the story because whatever. But this one was just okay. And yeah, I don't need to keep it for anything. All right, it's later now, and I'm sure the lighting has changed so you can tell, but I've been kind of looking at my shelves since I've done the first, like, you know, big haul that you've just seen, and I started, like, picking off a book here, picking off a book there, and I've got a few more, okay? I'm not done yet. So I looked it up, and I decided I am gonna get rid of my 4 volumes of Fence. I did really like this graphic novel series, but it just like abruptly ended, and then they changed the format to novels, like I said before, and I'm just not interested in picking up the actual novels. I thought that this was really well done for a graphic novel series, but so I'm a little sad because I was enjoying it, but I just don't feel like picking up the novels since I started it with the graphic novels. I think they're so pretty though with the white. But yeah, I probably won't continue with the series, and I don't want to keep these since they're like the storyline is unfinished. So these 4 are gonna go. I'm also gonna let go of the 2 heavy vinyl volumes. I liked these, but I think they were just like a quick one and done kind of thing. Like, I don't think that there's going to be any more in this, and if there is, like, I'll just either pick it up from the library or I'll get that copy, read it, and then unhaul it again, because they were fun. It's just not something that I'm going to reread, so those can go. Ooh, okay. I'm also going to get rid of Mooncakes by Wendy Zhu and Suzanne Walker. This one I've read kind of around like Halloween time, and I think it's the perfect Halloween read, but I think this is more geared towards a much younger audience than me, so I don't need to keep this. Somebody else can enjoy it. And same goes for Sheets by Brenna Thumler. I really enjoyed this. I like the art style, the colors that were used. I thought this was a really cute story. And I do still plan to continue because I've heard that Delicates, the second one, is just as good, if not better. So I am excited to get that. Look at how cute that is. I am excited to read that one, but I just don't think I need to keep this copy. I think I can just get it from the library. Also, I decided I am just going to get rid of The Witch Doesn't Burn in This One by Amanda Lovelace because I probably will never like reread it or pull. I've had this for how many years and I've never like pulled it off my bookshelf to reread any of the poems that I tabbed. So I'm just gonna pass it on. Okay, and I said it earlier that I was considering getting rid of the Raven King or Raven Cycle books, just not the first one. I also remembered that the first one, The Raven Boys, is signed, so I'm gonna keep that one, and if I ever did reread it, it would be just the first one. But I just don't see myself rereading this series ever again. It was fun in the moment, but I think if I tried to pick it up again, it would be too YA for me, even though I think the books are very beautiful. I mean, like, come on. But I don't think I'm gonna reread them ever, so I can pass them on. They're in really good condition, so somebody else can have them. And then I'm also going to get rid of Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This was a decent book. I enjoyed it. I think this was a really quick read. It was a very fun standalone fantasy, but same case with this one. It's kind of a story that you read once, enjoy in the moment, and then that's it. You don't need to pick it up again or kind of live in this world again. It was fun at the time, and now I'm ready to let it go. So yeah, that is 13 more books added to my stack. I have a whole bin full now. So I am pretty proud of being able to get rid of all of these. I'm sure that there's still some on there that I'll decide in the next few days if I want to keep them or not, but I'm definitely making a lot of room on my shelves, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's been a few days since I've done the big unhaul, but I think I found more that I am going to be capable of letting go. So I'm gonna let go of my hardcover copies of the Murderbot Diaries because, okay, they're less than 200 pages and they are good, but I listened to them on audio and they're so short that it's like I don't even really follow along. I just prefer to listen to it on audio, and they're not cheap. They're like $18 for this little dinky thing. So I don't want to have to keep buying all the books if I'm just going to get the audiobooks from the library. So I think I'm going to let these ones go. I also think that I can let go of these two books in the Three Sisters Island trilogy. This one is by far my favorite, and I have reread this one, but I didn't really care about these. I mostly just liked the witchy aspect to them, but I don't like either of the love interests in these two books. So I don't feel like I'll ever reread these. So I'm just gonna let these go. Keeping Face the Fire though, because I will probably reread this one at some point. Okay, so I also have this tarot set, which is like inspired by the Raven Cycle. So it has a little book in it. Here, let me show you. It has a little book that like talks you through reading tarot, written by Maggie Stiefvater. And then it has all the tarot cards, and it's like art that she did. So they're really pretty, but I think if I get a tarot set, I want like, I don't want to say that these aren't good, but I want like a really cool, unique set, I guess. And I don't know. I just don't want these, okay? Is that a good enough reason? I just don't want them. I'm also gonna let go of this edition of Kingdom of the Wicked. It's the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, so it has a different cover, and I actually like the original cover better with the black background. And the exclusive content is just like notes from Carrie Maniscalco on a chapter, so I don't really need this. I'm gonna let that go. I'm also gonna let go of the Kiss of Deception series. So I have 3 books. The Kiss of Deception, The Heart of Betrayal, and The Beauty of Darkness. And I did really like this fantasy series when I read it, but it's very YA, I feel like, and I just don't see myself rereading any of these. They were fun at the time, but I think it's time for me to let these go. And then I also think I'm gonna get rid of some of my nonfiction, specifically, okay, relax, Big Little Lies. Specifically both my Gloria Steinem books, because I read them and I don't think I'll ever reread them. They were really fun and good to read in the moment. I really liked them, but as the case with all of these, I'm just not going to reread these, and I think somebody else would really get something out of them. Can I do it now? Ugh, I don't know what it is. I keep coming back to it. I'm just going to leave it here for now. Okay, you know what? I'll make a deal. I'll make a deal with you. If I read this, if I don't read this by the end of the year, I have to get rid of it. And you know what? Will I be able to keep my word on that? We'll see. Oh, I want to love this. I want to love this. I'm going to give it one more shot. And if I don't like it, then I need to let it go. Something about this book, I don't know. I just love it. I can't help it. And then I think I'm also okay to let The Handmaid's Tale and The Testaments go, because I prefer the show over these. I know that the show kind of has started adapting the Testaments, and I'm not going to reread these. I read them once and they were enjoyable, that's weird to say about like dystopian books, but they were enjoyable at the time. But I think I'm just going to stick with the Hulu show, and if I ever did for some reason want to reread them, I know I can borrow them from a friend or from the library. So yeah, that was quite the journey. I very spontaneously decided to do this like a couple days ago, and I thought it would be a good idea to film it. So I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, you can let me know by liking and subscribing down below. I would really appreciate it. And leave a comment down below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are. I will also leave my Depop linked down below if you're interested in any of these books. I'm not sure when I'll, put them up because there's a lot of them, but I'll try. You can always message me on Instagram too if there's one that I don't have posted on my Depop but you want, and I can list it for you and get it to you. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!